Cody Rhodes successfully defended his WWE Championship last night at Saturday night's main event, but was stretchered out of the arena following a post-show package piledriver, try saying that after a few mulled wines, by his defeated opponent, Kevin Owens. Welcome to WrestleTalk. Do not adjust your sets. I am the Professor Dan Layton. Much like in Paul Levesque's WWE, we like to give people time off here at WrestleTalk, especially over the festive period. Tempo's back in Canada, Ollie's with some friends. It's Luke Owens' birthday weekend. Happy birthday, Luke. And incidentally, if I may, happy birthday, Pete. So they roped me in to do this breaking news video in case there was anything that went down at Saturday night's main event. Also, the show was built around nostalgia. Cody Rhodes was wearing the Winged Eagle belt, something that he's been talking about for a couple of years and fans have been clamoring for even longer. There were Jesse Ventura was there were red and blue and white ropes, the refs had their silly little bow ties on. So why not get involved with the nostalgia here on WrestleTalk as well? I know what you're thinking, Dan, you've only been at school for a couple of months. Technically, how can you possibly be a nostalgia call? I'm invoking the Alicia Fox bylaw, which states that you can still be considered a legend while a member of the active roster. So let's get into it. Saturday night's main event was I thought, pretty good couple of hours of TV. I watched it live here in the UK on YouTube, would you believe? And yeah, the action was sort of fast-paced, tight. There wasn't a lot of faff on this show. They very much were rattling through these 5 matches. I thought the triple threat match for the world title was absolutely brilliant. You should check it out. Highly recommend. But nothing massive felt like it happened. Cody defended the belt and did use some shenanigans to make it happen. That was noteworthy. That was interesting, and we'll talk about that in a second. But did I think it was mind-blowing, breaking news, shock character twist, need to talk about it? No. So I sort of messaged the group and I was like, hey, nothing massive went down. Gonna go to bed. See you tomorrow. And then it turns out that WWE have got wise to us. They have figured out that we are now savvy to the idea of the lower third not really being the end of the show. We've seen it, whether it was DIY, whether it was Punk's return. We see the lower third and we go, I'm not sure. So now they've decided the end of the show is also not the end of the show. So they've changed the goalposts. They've pushed it back a little bit. Cody was giving his post-match rah-rah speech. Thanks for coming out. Let's sing Sweet Caroline. And he couldn't get a couple of words out before he was clattered with a forearm from behind by Kevin Owens, who then, blink and you'll miss it, within seconds manages to gather Cody up, hoist him into the air, and hit a package pile driver. I'd argue it's a snap package pile driver. It was that quick. And the only footage of this to begin with was spread on social media by fans who had their cameras out, much like had happened with his post-show beatdown at Bad Blood in front of Cody's bus. The footage was very quickly disseminated online. It's now available on WWE's official Twitter feed, X feed, to go and take a look at in sort of close-up. But there's something about the shaky fan cam footage of this moment that really sells that it's quite renegade. I mean, let's not forget, pile drivers have long been outlawed in WWE for quite understandable reasons. So when they do happen, it's fairly massive. It's only recently that we saw Randy Orton take a pile driver on SmackDown, and Randy Orton hasn't been seen since. They really have chosen to use this move as lethal, as something that is likely to put you out of action for a very long time. And they don't show it on television. This package pile driver took place off camera. This package pile driver took place to the WWE champion, and the only footage you could find for a little while was grainy footage from the stands. That is a pretty transgressive move, as far as I'm concerned. After the fact, Cody is sort of laying in the ring, really selling the effects of this pile driver. As I mentioned, he's brought back the Winged Eagle belt. Kevin Owens takes the Winged Eagle belt, goes up the ramp, and is sort of celebrating with it, showing off, when Triple H comes out from the back and really gets in his face. Really, they start yapping and shouting at each other. And in a sort of move that makes my Triple H fanboy 2004 heart go, oh, hello, pushes him. And Kevin Owens pushes him right back, and they start having this fight. And Kevin Owens will not relinquish the hold on this Winged Eagle belt. And Triple H is furious. And there's something about that as well, which feels like, you know, interesting and a little bit sort of chaotic when you consider Triple H's experience with shaky fan cam footage from the stands, the curtain call, was such a transgressive and industry-changing moment. The fact that he, as Booker, is now sort of using this as a technique, I think is kind of cool. Cody then subsequently was stretched out of the arena. I should check, actually. I should do my due diligence. I'm not on the internet anymore, so I don't know whether or not Kevin Owens has tweeted anything or... on the official Twitter account, they've also posted a video of the Triple H and Kevin Owens confrontation. I'd show you to the camera, but I feel like we'd get a little bit in trouble for that. Yeah, they're really going at it. I love it. Love a little push. Love a little, just be friends, guys. Except you can't, because maybe your world champion is out of action for a while, thanks to the package pile driver. Let's talk about why it happened. I don't think they've said anything specifically about the repercussions of the action. You would imagine there will be plenty. But what had happened during the match was Kevin had been doing a fantastic job of playing the heel, rolling out of the ring, making Cody sort of take risks that perhaps he shouldn't, diving to the outside, landed on his foot that had been injured by Chad Gable a couple of weeks ago, and so that was really being played into. The announcers, Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, who had made a return earlier in the night, by the way, not sure if that's him officially part of the team again till Mania. Normally he makes his return for that at the Royal Rumble, but obviously we have Raw on Netflix on January the 6th, so you would imagine he'd be present for that as well. The three of them, Pat, Michael Cole and Jesse the Body Ventura, had done, I thought, a pretty good job of putting over the stakes of this match. Jesse Ventura was doing a great job on commentary, to my ears. There was even a moment when they went to picture-in-picture that, for our YouTube broadcast, the commentators' mics stayed on, and they were discussing how they were going to try and put over Kevin Owens' aggression, whether or not he pulled the trigger. And that ended up really being interesting for me as a commentator in my own right, but also seeing what then happened in the match, because Kevin was being a little bit more ruthless. He was taking certain risks. There was a moment that Cody was going for a superplex, but he couldn't quite get his footing, probably because of the ankle. So Kevin chooses to hit the big fisherman's brainbuster for a near fall. He does some Randy Orton moves on the table. He was going to put Cody through the table, only for Cody to hit an RKO out of nowhere on the table. And in the end, as they head back into the ring, there's a ref bump. We're going for a stunner. Cody sort of wriggles out of it. He gets pushed away by Kevin Owens. Cody clatters into Charles Robinson, who then obviously bumps to the outside, comes back around into a stunner, and Kevin Owens gets a visual pin. I think the crowd chanted to about 7, but there was no ref in the ring. Someone else runs down. Oh, hello, Cody Rhodes. So he goes for another cover, and unfortunately Cody is able to kick out. Kevin is furious at this. Meanwhile, while he's shouting, Cody tries to set up for what could have been sort of like a disaster kick turned into a crossbody. Kevin ducks out of the way, and Cody takes out the second referee. In the 2 referees being down scenario, Kevin Owens runs out to the ring and grabs a chair from the timekeeper's area, steel chair, comes back in, goes to use it. Cody manages to avoid it. They sort of wrestle over it, and the chair falls to the ground. It's at this point that Cody manages to hook Kevin in for a crossroads, looks down at the chair and goes, well, it's in the ring, I might as well use it, and hits his crossroads on the chair, slides the chair out of the ring, hits the cover. Charles Robinson sort of comes to, gets to ringside, counts the 3, and Cody Rhodes has retained the belt through cheating. Lemon and herb cheating, but cheating nonetheless. And this is interesting when you consider what happened on SmackDown, wherein Cody had been brawling with Kevin Owens, and Kevin had sort of knocked out a couple of security guards. When they tried to stop Cody, Cody himself also knocked out a couple of security guards, and that is not necessarily the blue-eyed babyface Cody Rhodes that we've come to know. So it's going to be interesting to find out whether or not they've added an element of darkness to his character, whether they're giving him a bit of an edge. As he was coming down to the ring, there was a woman holding a sign that said overrated. She looked ecstatic to have managed to get herself on television. And while I don't think that necessarily was a plan or a choice, everything in Paul Levesque's WWE now feels like an actual choice. It now feels like a considered decision. We've made this choice on purpose. So you've got to wonder whether we're adding a darker edge, a sort of more attitude edge, that anti-hero Stone Cold vibe to Cody's character, or whether this is yet more fuel to the fire of Kevin Owens being fully justified in his beliefs and his actions, and playing with our ideas of whether or not Cody is as much of a babyface as he would like us to believe. That is going to remain to be seen. What else is going to remain to be seen is when we see Cody Rhodes again. He's stretched out of the arena. We haven't seen Randy Orton since he took his pile driver. What's going to happen? I guess we're going to have to tune in to find out. I'm going to leave it there. Highly recommend you watch the rest of Saturday night's main event. The other big news, congratulations to Chelsea Green, who became the very first Women's United States champion on the show in full Long Island Zack Ryder gear, no less. Drew McIntyre looked decisive in his victory over Sami Zayn. The triple threat match, as I said earlier on, was fantastic. And I would also like to give props to Liv Morgan and Io Sky. Io's hard knee giving Liv a bloody nose was particularly great as well. And I think those were all the 5 matches. Yeah, that sounds about right. It was a good show, though. Highly recommend you check it out. What do you think of the post-show action? What do you think about this choice to make post-show action a key part of WWE programming? And what do you think will come of Cody's sort of slightly shady actions? Thanks for watching. I will see you again very soon at some point, I'm sure, and regular programming will resume in due course. Bye-bye.